Okay, we're now connected to Wi-Fi. I have contacted Ion Support about my sound issue. They checked and said that I was running the wrong SD card. So what I want to do is just do kind of a short test video. I've done a couple videos checking the sound. I'm going to go over a little bit of my fishing tackle. I'll restart the video. I'll get some of this laid out. That way kind of cut the video time down and see how this does. Kind of a test of more of the camera and kind of go over some of the tackle, new tackle I've got. This is mostly for offshore trip that I've got coming up. I'm going to try to start doing a couple trips a year, preferably. I've got into saltwater fishing a lot, and so I have started getting a little bit of variety of tackle. I've done more surf fishing so far, but we'll see if I can get into the offshore stuff here in the next year or two, and get to do a good bit of that and maybe get some good video of that. So let me get some of this laid out and I'll be right back. Okay, now I'm back. Kind of what I want to go over is what I've got here as far as my saltwater tackle. Primarily most of this stuff will be used for offshore. Some of it's for inshore as well. Some of it is my surf gear that I'm taking with me. But what I'm using here, I'm using the Ion Air Pro 3 action camera. Hoping to try and get some video fishing, do some trout fishing here in North Carolina. So I'd like to try to get some video of that once I go out some more come warmer weather. And get a little video to share with people. The camera so far has worked decent. Have had some sound issues that I think I've worked out. It's much better than it was before. The app that Ion has is very difficult to use. It's frustrating. The best thing that really it's for is to get the camera focused, so that you know what you're looking at and what the camera's pointing at. I'm using it on the headset. A little cumbersome. With a hat on, it's not so bad, but just putting it on your bare head kind of feels awkward. I guess no different than wearing the GoPro chesty. But what I'll go over first, some of what I've got here. This is the basic setup. Always going to have a set of pliers. I usually keep two. I've got an aluminum pair and a longer, skinnier pair. Works good if you get hooks caught down in the throat. You can usually try to get them out. Bait knife. Simply, cut your bait up. I just use cheap bait knife, nothing fancy. You're not really doing anything with it other than cutting up cut bait, cutting up fillets, whatever you need to fish with. I carry a couple pair of scissors with me. I fish a lot with braid, heavy mono, easier for you to cut it. Now my set of aluminum pliers, they do have a cutter on them. They work good. These are a little bit heavier. They work good for some light steel braid. A new rod holder that I've started using is the Berkeley. I guess it's kind of universal. Use it for stringers, rods, whatever you need to bind together. Pretty good. I'll kind of lay this aside and show you how it works. It works real good holding the rods together from what I've found so far. Saltwater fishing, I prefer to catch my own bait than to go and buy it. It's fresher, it's cheaper. If you can do it, it will save you a ton of money, especially if you're going on a long surf fishing trip or something like that. It will save you a ton of money in bait cost, and usually catch you more fish simply because it's fresher. I've found that it's usually easy to find if you know where to look. Maybe one day I'll do a kind of tutorial on finding bait fish and catching bait fish. This is a 5-foot radius, 4 or 5 foot, I can't remember right off. But I don't use a big cast net. I'm not good at throwing a larger cast net. This one here I can do pretty decent with, and I have caught plenty of bait with it before. Mullet, threadfin, pretty much any bait fish that you'll find in saltwater. Have used it for freshwater before too. Sinkers. This is some new offshore sinkers that I've got. I love looking for sinkers on eBay. You go to Bass Pro, Gander Mountain, any of your chain stores, you'll find that these 8-ounce sinkers are $4 a piece, something like that. I got them for $1 a piece off of eBay, shipped to the house. Usually it's an individual who makes them herself. You can see just by the imperfections in the lead. You can see that very good with the camera, and the camera angle is wide. But I'm an avid eBayer. Love looking for gear on eBay. A lot of times you can find it cheaper than you get it in the store if you don't need it right then. A little bit more on the bait catching. Sabiki rigs. I use them every now and then. It works pretty good if you can't find bait that's close enough to shore. You know, if you're not fishing from a boat or something, that you can't get to the bait. They work pretty good. You can cast them out, jig them back to you. Work decent for getting bait from what I've used. I have watched videos and stuff on sabiki rigs that people do real good. Bring that back a full string each cast or each drop. So they are an effective bait tool due to, I believe, the Japanese that invented them and began jigging bait with them and small fish. Oh, let's see here. Line, I use both monofilament and braided line. Every now and then I'll use fluorocarbon. I'm not big on fluorocarbon simply because it's supposed to be abrasive resistant, but from what I found with my use, it tends to fray and therefore causing it to reduce the tensile strength that it has. Whereas monofilament, you get more stretch, less fraying. Braid, however, if you're rubbing across rocks, pylons and stuff, don't be surprised if it comes back shredded or cuts you off. This is what I've got, some 80 pound. I don't fish much over 80 pound, but just simply because I don't fish that large fish usually. I got that mainly for my offshore. Inshore, I'm usually using up to about 50, 60 pounds. Neat idea for your quarter spools. Found this on the internet from a gentleman that surf fish. All these are is a drink koozie. They fit in there, keep your line. You know, usually when you cut the tape off of it for the first time, it'll spool out and go everywhere. This way you can keep it in, allows you to pull it out, and keeps you from, as you're pulling it out, spooling a reel, whatever you're doing, pulling out a piece of leader, keeps it from going haywire and giving you a big mess of tangles. But good idea if anyone has issues with that. Oh, here we have just a couple different soft plastics. These are some new Gulp stuff. I've never tried this before, but looking forward to using that whenever I go offshore in May. Put these on the back of some bucktails. That's what I want to try. I've seen some decent success with that. So I hope to do it myself. Fish bites. If you are not using fish bites, you need to start using them. They are an amazing artificial bait. At times when you can't find live bait or you don't want to buy fresh bait, fish bites work great. Spot, whiting, pretty much everything will bite these fish bites. They come in a variety of different flavors, colors. Here I've got squid and shrimp. You can also get sand flea. You can get crab, clam. They are a little expensive, but from what I found, they are worth the cost. They'll last pretty good. These are pretty much just kind of like a gel, a hard type gel that's molded to a fiber, stitched fiber cloth, biodegradable. Once it wears off, trim your cloth, you can throw it away. There's very little left once the scent and the tractor is going off of it. Here I've just made up some leaders, packed them separately. That way I can kind of keep them separate. I know what length it is. If I'm wanting to just grab one real quick and not have to measure it off, I can do so. A couple hook leaders here. I use this because some of the 80-pound line that I've got for my leader on my offshore rod that I'm just made up, you cannot get that 80-pound line through the eye of the hook and some of these smaller hooks. So I made these up so that I can use them for, especially the smaller ones, for trigger fish and stuff like that, stuff that requires a small hook and a small bait. But this Bass Pro little tackle bag here works real good to hold them and keep them from being tangled together. Some people may have seen these before. This is just a buff neck garter. Work great for, especially if it's windy out on the surf, boat, whatever you're on. Keep your face from getting wind burnt. Keep the sun off. Relatively thin, so it's pretty cool. Won't get you real hot. They come in a variety of colors. I think there's pretty much only one size, and one size fits all. Real good things that I found that I use on the surf and out on the boat. So the crimps, wire, what I've used this for, I've got several here that I've got in Ziploc bags. This is similar. This would be similar to how a kingfish rig or a king mackerel rig would be made up. I hope you can see this. I know the camera angle is wide and this is a little small. I've made this differently this time, but I want to try. I usually make this up with a 4 to 6 inch section of wire leader attached to my hook eye, then another wire leader run up above that, which I attach to my leader line, braided line, main line, whatever I've got coming down to it. The reason I made this different is I've used this. This works great for bluefish. If you've ever fished for bluefish, I know a lot of people don't like them, don't eat them or nothing. If you bleed them out, they're pretty good. As soon as you catch them, cut their throat, put them in a bucket, let them bleed out, and the meat won't have that real gamey taste, I guess you would say. But the reason I made this where this hook can slide is that when you're fishing, especially if you're fishing mullet, you'll have big mullet, small mullet, all different sizes. So what this allows you to do is allows you to head hook your mullet with your main hook, but you also can designate on the bait where your treble hook or your trailer hook is, because if you ever fish for bluefish or anything that with a lot of teeth, such as the bluefish or kingfish, a lot of times they're bad for coming up, and they'll take off the half of the bait, take the tail off. You can hook it up in the tail and they'll take the head off. So what this does is essentially you're trying to fool the fish. You hook it in the head, hook it in the tail, and it allows you to pull it. I'm not sure how this will work as far as pulling the bait through the water. I believe that having it where it can, a free range of motion may allow the fish to move more, but we'll see. I'll see how that is, and I'll kind of update, see if that works. Maybe an idea for people to go. That's a rather light leader, only 40-pound test. I think this would be, I think this is maybe number 4. This would be. I know a lot of people use 6 or so for kingfish. For bluefish, that's a real good size. The crimpers, pretty much necessary to make any of these. Kind of go through what I keep in my tackle box. Line butter, just a conditioner, reel butter, some reel cleaner, great for if you're salt fishing. I mean, even for saltwater rated reel, you still want to wash it off. The fish grip, just a lip gripper, something if you don't want to grab the fish in the mouth, you got locked teeth, something real good, you can grab it. Allows it to lock down on the fish's lip, and use these for big catfish, works great. Pair of trimmers, D-hooker, a couple fillet knives, stringer, and just the basics of what you'd find in most tackle boxes. Some terminal tackle. Smaller sinkers, some half, two, maybe some quarter down there, a couple light stuff so I can put on the sabiki rigs, casting them out or something. Hooks, I keep a variety of hooks. Hooks are really one of the places I do not skimp. I try to get quality hooks. I found that lighter hooks, the saltwater will affect them, weaken them. Several different sizes. It's good to keep. You may have fish biting on a larger size one day, and they may stray away from that size the next. I've got a 1/0, 2/0 circle hook. I have 3 and 4/0 octopus hooks, I believe. 5, 5, and 7 alt circle hooks. Some new swivels I got that I want to try out. Ball bearing swivel. These are supposed to be black and nickel. We'll see how they handle in salt water. I may have to upgrade a little bit on the hooks. This I just found laying on the beach one day. Several new things that I've got. Some of these are new, some of these are old. Most I have not gotten to use. I've been on a couple offshore trips, and like I say, I'm wanting to start going on several a year, and so therefore I did kind of buy some tackle to take with me. You don't have to on most of your chartered head boats and stuff. Pretty much anything you pay for, you don't have to take, but it's nice to be able to have some of your own stuff to use. I've got several different styles and sizes of buckheads here. You see I've put the swivels on to this. That way, as you're retrieving, get more fluid movement out of your bucktail, whatever you're using, and eliminates more of a tangle into the leader. Several different sizes, styles of knife jigs. As you can see, I have also put swivels onto these. Same reason. Not done a lot of knife jigging. This is something that is new to me. I have seen and watched tons of videos before I decided that I wanted to get into it. It'd be kind of a new experience. See how it goes. I see that a lot of people have a lot of success with it, but it's apparently, like most things of fishing, it's a skill that you have to practice at, like most things. Some smaller ones. These here have some glowing dots. As it gets down in deeper water, that way it gives them more visibility. All of them you see, like most of your lures, reflective coating, holographic coating of some sort to reflect light just as a sense for the fish to see. Get some of my rods here. Small rod, I've got telescoping rod that I can carry, backpack, easy place to put. Medium action. This is primarily for my sabiki rig, something I can carry along. Don't have to worry about primarily carrying a rod to fish with. You know, if I don't see any bait fish that I can use the sabiki rig with, all I've got to do is leave it in the backpack. I don't have to worry about picking it up, carrying it, and walking around with it. New tackle bag that I got this specifically to put all my offshore stuff in, something that I can fit everything in. Towel, pretty much necessary with any type of fishing. As you can see, our house is a mess. Should probably clean that up. This is a new setup that I got. This is, I think, new for 2016. It's the Penn Warfare rod, 6'6" rod, medium action, or medium weight, fast action rod. This one here I got in particular the 20 size level wind reel. This is a new reel. We'll see how it does. Graphite reel with some aluminum supports on it. Nice loud bait clicker. The one thing that I do like with a lot of the Penn stuff and several other manufacturers is going to put your marker lines on your spools to let you know, as your line goes down, how much line you've got left. Most of them go a third, 2/3, and full. This one here, I'm going to primarily use it as a jigging rod. Because I don't do this, I don't invest the money in most of the high dollar jigging rods. I mean, a jigging rod can cost you $200 easy. But this one here, we'll see how it does. It should suffice. 15-pound drag, auto-engaging spool, so you don't actually have to flip your selector back and forth whenever you get your jig down, whether you're fishing with. Crank of the reel and it will engage. Seems to be a nice rod. The reviews that it had were pretty decent. I didn't see anything negative on it. Another budget rod that I've made up to start taking offshore. This is a Penn Mariner 2. Good reviews on this rod. It's supposed to be a stout rod. This one here is the 6-foot heavyweight version, medium action. Seems to be a well-built rod. Stainless steel eyes, as you can see. No rollers on these, just your regular open eye. New reel that I got to try out. Did some research, pretty good reviews on this reel. We'll see how it does. Want to go out at the end of April. This is you can see the name. This is the Offshore Angler brand that Bass Pro Shop carries. This is their Seafire. Let's see, I think this is the 4.0 size. Retrieve, free spool, like all your other reels. Star drag. This particular model has 30 pounds of drag advertised. We'll see how that does. Have not measured it. That may be something I do just to see if it actually does have nice loud bait clicker, spool adjustment. But I'll do a kind of review while I'm out fishing on this one and see how it does. I like it. It looks well built from what I've seen. As long as you keep it clean, it's supposed to last. It's been out a little while, I do believe. Graphite, aluminum center, so it does look very well built. The way I've done this one, this is spooled with 50-pound braid on the bottom, probably about 150 yards that I've got on the bottom of this. That way, if I do get something that runs, I can actually have a little bit of length. It's hard to get length when you're using a heavy mono with the size of it. This here is 80-pound mono. I've got a chicken rig tied in this, and maybe I can show you when I get this off. 7-aught hook. I have a, I believe this is a 2-aught hook, maybe a 1-aught. This is the leader with the hook, you see. You can see this. I don't know how well that'll focus. I've got my loop into here, and I've got my loop tied to the chicken rig, because this loop here will not fit through the eye. So you could run your hook up, and then as you wind, you could have it in the center here, but that would mean that it would move around. I like it because it stays put, stays kind of out away from your main line. I like the chicken rig just simply because hook your hooks together and no worries really about it getting tangled up. The only thing you have out is the line connected them. Something new I'm trying on this jigging rod. I've seen one gentleman that did this, and it seemed like a decent idea to try. Only thing with braid's very expensive, and this is Power Pro Super Slick 8. This is the 8-strand braid, same as the 50 that's on under the mono on the offshore angler reel. This one here, I had 300 yards of 40-pound test, Super Slick 8. I believe I have that in aqua green. Then we have here 65 pound in the blue. Above it should be 150 yards of it. And above that, I've got a 30-foot leader of 50-pound test mono. Stretch shock absorber for the braid. If everybody that's fished braid knows that there is no shock absorption, everything goes up to the rod. So I figure fishing saltwater, better to have that shock absorber in there than to not. If I can spin this around, I want everyone to see this union knot here. A lot have used uni to uni when connecting braid to mono or braid to mono to fluorocarbon. This here is a knot that I found called the FG knot. You can look it up, see how you tie it. Maybe one day I'll do a video of tying this particular knot. Supposed to be the strongest union knot that is made and tied right now. We'll see how that goes whenever I go offshore and hook something good. But so far I like it. Kind of the, I guess the Chinese finger trap that they used to have, similar to that. The harder you pull, the harder it grips the monofilament or fluorocarbon. That is pretty much it. I will do a video one day on all of my surf gear that I use. I'll get my surf cart out. I hope to upgrade surf cart sometime. I kind of build and design me a new one. The one I've got right now, it works great, but it's I think it's about time to upgrade and go to something new. It's done well, but now that I've started doing more surf fishing, I can say that I would like to have something that's a little nicer. I even looked into making a motorized beach cart. I've seen several designs, but I don't know if I want to put the expense in it. Then again, you know, like I say, I'm 5 hours away from the South Carolina and North Carolina coast. So when I can, I do travel to saltwater to fish saltwater, but you know, I only do it as I can simply because of money and time later. So thank you for watching. Any questions, leave me a comment. I'll try to get back to everyone as I can. And give me a review. This is one of the first videos, so I'm trying to get a hang of this. And got any pointers? You know, if you're an avid YouTuber, you know, you can be a critic. I can take it. Thank you for watching, and have a good night.